Lee Byung-sok was my childhood friend. We first met when we were just 7 years old. Right from the start, Byung-sok always showed up at kindergarten looking completely scruffy. Because of how he looked, cruel whispers constantly followed him around the classroom. The other kids would gossip behind his back, saying, "They say he doesn't have a mom. No, I heard he doesn't have a dad. So he doesn't have either? Byung-sok's so dirty. He probably never washes." He was a gloomy kid who always looked utterly miserable, as if the rampant rumors flying around the kindergarten were actually true. Whenever the day ended, it wasn't his mom or dad who came to pick him up. Instead, it was always his older sister, still dressed in her school uniform. Since we lived in the same apartment complex, I saw him often. Byung-sok was always at the playground, entirely alone, crouching in the dirt and drawing with a stick. I remember finally striking up a conversation with him one day, simply because I was worried. Standing near him, I asked, "Hey, why are you always by yourself?" Without looking up, he quietly responded, "Because I'm alone." That was the very first time I heard Byung-sok's voice. Caught off guard by his blunt loneliness, I could only blink in surprise and ask the next thing that came to mind. What about food? Even a clueless kid could tell he needed looking after. I felt sorry for him, so I offered, "Come and eat at my place." From some point on, Byung-sok and I were always together. We ate together and went to school together. On days his parents were out till late, he'd sleep over at my place. Lying in bed, I'd ask him, "They say there's this huge universe outside Earth. Hey, do you think aliens are actually real?" He'd look over at me and reply, "Then to aliens, we'd be the aliens." "Whoa, true. You're smart," I laughed. By then, I was bored without Byung-sok. He probably felt the same way, because he always smiled when he was with me. But school brought new challenges. One day in the hallway, I overheard the other kids gossiping. "Hey, the class 4 kids are fighting again." "Who? Is Byung-sok crying again?" Furious, I threw open the classroom door and yelled, "Hey!" at the kids surrounding him. Lee Byung-sok was a crybaby. "I told you if you mess with Byung-sok, you're dead," I screamed, lunging at the kids who had been cornering him. "You don't even have armpit hair." I was completely furious, kicking and throwing punches wildly. "Getting cocky, huh? Cocky?" I yelled, entirely lost to my rage. "You think I'm not serious?" Behind me, the other kids shrank back in terror. Byung-sok just stood there crying, wailing, "Wah, Dahi, you're scarier than them." Later, outside the school, I pulled him into a tight chokehold to demonstrate a point. "Hey, dummy. If they mess with you again, jab them right in the philtrum first," I instructed, tightening my grip. "Gawk," he gasped. "Then you break their center of gravity," I continued relentlessly. "And then choke them like this. You'll win for sure." As I held him close, I suddenly leaned in and sniffed his hair. Tilda, that funky smell," I teased, giving him a playful look. "Don't you ever bathe? Are you a dog?" But time passed, and people change. Once middle school hit, that gloomy personality of his turned into quiet reserve, and his whiny voice gradually got lower. Naturally, Byung-sok's height shot past my own frame by a mile. Standing outside the school building, he looked down at me smoothly and asked, "What do you want for dinner?" I just stared up at him, momentarily speechless. At first, it just felt strange. Byung-sok used to be like my little keychain. "Teokbokki and sundae?" he suggested gently, reaching down and firmly grabbing my hand in his. "Don't hold my hand anymore," I said, pulling my hand away from his grip. "If you ask me when I started liking him, I honestly don't know." "Why not?" Byung-sok asked, turning his head slightly. "People keep staring," I mumbled, looking down as a faint blush crept onto my face. We were always together, after all. He let out a small chuckle, a bright smile breaking across his face. "Wow, Jeong Da-hye, your personality really mellowed out. Look at you caring what others think." Now, it's not just that I miss him when he's gone. I can't live without him. "Want to die?" I snapped, playfully landing a pair of quick punches right into his back. He just laughed it off, completely unfazed by my outbursts now. "Doesn't even hurt anymore, haha." Nothing in the universe could replace the density of Lee Byung-sok. Days later, in a high-rise apartment building in the city, "Byung-sok," I groaned, lounging lazily across the bed behind him. "Whatcha doing?" I asked, staring at his back. He stayed completely silent, typing away. Leaning forward, I whined loudly at his lack of attention. I'm bored. Play with me. Beyonsok, I repeated, resting my chin on my crossed arms. But he didn't give me so much as a glance. What are you watching so carefully? I huffed, eyeing the screen. Lowell Worlds. Can't you see? He answered smoothly, eyes firmly locked onto his laptop. What is it? Show me too, I demanded, crawling closer and reaching for the screen. Ah, seriously, Byam-seok grumbled, shifting away. Jong Da-hye. Why? I'm just going to play some music, I argued, successfully snatching the laptop and turning it toward myself. He pulled it right back, giving me a stern look. You really do not mess with a guy's laptop. I crossed my arms, looking down at him suspiciously. What, you hiding porn or something? A smirk played on his lips as he looked up at me. You know it. You perv. I shuddered, recoiling back onto the bed. That actually hurts, he scoffed, laughing a little as he looked back at his screen. There isn't a guy alive who doesn't watch porn, Da-hye. A sudden wave of heat rushed to my face, and my eyes widened in shock. So because you do, all guys do? I stammered, completely flustered. I'm speaking facts, he shrugged indifferently, before completely changing the subject. You like tteokbokki, right? Yeah, what about it? I muttered, curling my legs up defensively. He glanced up at me knowingly. Don't you whine about wanting sweets before your period? Like suddenly your appetite goes insane. How the hell do you know that? I stammered, my face heating up completely as I jumped to my feet on the bed. Byam-seok tilted his head back, a casual smile resting on his face. Why wouldn't I know? We're glued together every day. You? I glared down at him, my cheeks burning with a heavy blush. Crazy perverted freak? That's my point, he countered smoothly, leaning back slightly and looking up at me with a playful, knowing gaze. It's similar to your appetite, my sex drive, I mean. You sick bastard! I shrieked, instantly swinging a furious fist right into his back. Ah, why are you hitting me? He groaned, wincing and ducking his head, but laughing anyway. Rubbing his head, he muttered, If I called you a degenerate every time you ate tteokbokki, would you like it? You think that's the same? I yelled at his back. Not the same, similar, he clarified casually, stretching an arm out on his knee. It's not like I can just grab anyone and do it, right? Well, I don't even have a girlfriend right now. A sudden curiosity pierced through my embarrassment, and my heart did a strange little flip. I leaned forward, staring at him intently with wide, searching eyes. Have you done it? I breathed out, my face still incredibly red. Like a kiss. Byam-seok paused, looking away and reaching up to scratch the back of his neck uncomfortably. Little kids don't need to know, he mumbled defensively. That was it. My face practically exploded with heat, and I swung my legs over the edge of the bed. I'm going home, I announced flatly, utterly overwhelmed. Da-hye, quit pretending you're so innocent, Byam-seok sighed, turning his head to look up at me from the floor. You know full well. I'm leaving, I yelled, slamming his bedroom door behind me with a loud thud. I heard Byam-seok chuckle mockingly from inside. He immediately opened the door and followed me out into the hallway. Why are you pissed off again? None of your business, I snapped. I'm not talking to a perverted animal. I'm totally wounded, he said, his voice dropping into a flat, teasing tone as he kept pace behind me. You said you wanted tteokbokki? I spun around, my teeth gritted in sheer frustration. I said, Stop going on about tteokbokki. Fine, he muttered, suddenly reaching out and grabbing my wrist to stop me from walking away. Let's get malatang then. Don't touch me, I shrieked. Byam-seok blinked, completely unfazed, and let out a sigh. Hey, Jong Da-hye, you're seriously hilarious, he said, looking down at me. You're overreacting. Overreacting to what? I demanded, crossing my arms and glaring up at his face. I do have a type, you know, he countered smoothly, a smirk playing on his lips. I'm the one who's offended here. You? I started, before swallowing my nerves. What's your type then? Byam-seok burst into a bright, carefree grin, turning his face away slightly. Glamour girl, he answered gleefully, before casting a wicked glance back at me. Which you're not. Haha. A glamour girl, I repeated, my voice dripping with absolute venom as I stared him down. You! I trembled. You! Smack! Before he could even register the danger, my fist flew forward, connecting squarely with his jaw. You son of a bitch! Have you seen one of them? I roared. I immediately began stomping on him without mercy. You haven't even seen one. How the hell would you know if I'm a glamour girl or not? Seriously, Jeong Dahye, are you nuts? Byung-seok yelped. You know nothing, so how can you go on about glamour this and that? I shrieked. You'd have to see to know. All that's fake anyway, ugh. He wheezed out defensively from the floor. Ack. It seriously hurts, damn it. You've got freak strength and nothing else. That was the final straw. With a surge of adrenaline, I wound up and delivered a spectacular, gravity-defying high kick, sending him flying. My name is Jeong Dahye. I'm 19, and it's been 5 years and 120 days since I fell for my childhood friend, Lee Byung-seok.